Hey, Devin Martin here, and this is your transit forecast for the second week of January between the 6th and 11th, 2020. As always, I'm going to put helpful resources in the link of this description of how to see the live transits, benefit from my forecasts, and all that fun stuff, and also exciting upcoming events. So make sure to check out the description. Now, how were you guys doing last week? Whenever you find this, I'd recommend listening to the last report as well, because we have some very continuing themes this week of root pressure and stamina and drive and the warrior fight to rise. So we have the sun in the 54 and the earth in the 53. And I wrote down some other cool stuff that's going on in the transits this week. So, whatever you felt like you're coming out of since the New Year's when it comes to your individuality against like fighting up against odds to persevere who you are and your integrity against things that are coming at you or blocking you or detrimental in your life. I hope that you channeled this warrior power into your life. And this week, it's essentially giving you the drive, ambition, and aspiration to take that warrior fight and to keep going upward and to keep rising. And then in the 53, it's all about expanding and new beginnings, but nothing that's completely new, but actually taking the foundations of what we've learned from the past and continuing to expand on that in a new direction. So we're building this week off of past success and taking that drive and rising with it. So regardless if you understand all these codes or whatever, all the details I'm saying, the biggest thing I'd recommend for you guys, which I've noticed in myself has been tremendously helpful, is to channel all this really powerful energy we're experiencing right now in the stars. Be a student of the stars and get your ass moving in healthy ways. So anything that's going to activate your physical strength, your stamina, relieve pressure, and exercise your warrior spirit, your ambition, anything that's like fueling you, please channel it into healthy physical outlets this week, last week, and probably moving forward, because that's going to help clear up your head and come to clarity and inner truth, which is also we're being pressurized by in the head right now. To clear that up, to open up the path forward of where we need to expand, and also like where our true ambitions lie, you know, like what are we truly aspiring for, you know? Like this week is really about like really weeding through the illusions, like inquiring about that, getting to some like probably intense truths that we may have been avoiding, and taking that fuel and anything that's come with it and using it to rise. So a theme that came up last week for me, which I know I'm not alone, the 30 and 39, it can have this theme of rage, and for a good reason. So don't be afraid of this rage, guys. Obviously don't do anything crazy with it, but that's why physical exercise is so important right now. Please, just go dance, please. So 39, 38 from last week, which we have the 38 that's came in Mercury as well this week, which was kind of like giving us this extra boost of like, okay, keep fighting, you know, as we go into this week. And then now we have Mars in the gate of strength, the 34, which is all about self-empowerment, and it's just really firing some things up. So last week, if you felt rage, if you felt like old trauma coming up from the last decade that you felt like you had to kind of fight out of or fight against, or recognize when you felt really weak and you had to like bring out some warrior power to like go over some of those obstacles and like dig into the truth, then you're not alone. And that was perfectly orchestrated in order for you to set those foundations straight by seeing clearly and using your drive and stamina in healthy ways and healthy directions, and not ones that were based off falsity and lies and illusion. So if you felt rage last week, or if you feel it this week, if you feel kind of like a fiery like side come out in you, it's like there's something that was really powerful that happened for me last week, which I know I've gone through like many times, but it was like I felt this comfort in these like really uncomfortable emotions. And I had these moments like where I watched these energies from the stars like really moving through me and being embodied. And I think that when we physically experience these things that are going on that we can't really see but we feel, it just makes it so much more real. And like for me, I felt this old like rage come up in the sense where it was like, I have to own this in me and fight a good fight, and I have to move it. And I ended up dancing for like hours, and I danced with that really uncomfortable energy. And I felt like with the 38 and the 39, with this like liberation and this like self-honoring of this like warrior path, I felt like something like chemically shifted in my body once my rage wasn't hiding, and I just got really comfortable with it. And then I had to get really comfortable with melancholy and sadness and these uncomfortable feelings. And I was traveling, and I got stranded in the Malaysian airport, and I got put up in a hotel. And it was so interesting to like go on this prodigal adventure and just be alone and just be okay with all of my uncomfortable feelings. I didn't have to play nice. I didn't have to like talk to anybody other than just like transactional things. And I was able to just sit in like feeling melancholic and feeling a bit like angry, just like, you know, not being angry at people, and there was something so real about it. I was like, oh my God, like rage is real. When we are opposed by things that drain us and are detrimental to us, why wouldn't we feel rage? That kind of fuel is what moves us forward in our life. So look at all the things that are even having an inkling of rage, and it's triggering something to stand up and have your warrior fight and move in your own direction. Probably not toward that thing that's causing you rage, whether it's a relationship or a job or some old trauma bullshit. Look at it, use the rage as fuel, and use that this week as your drive, stamina, and higher aspirations forward. Now, melancholy, depression, all these intense emotions that are coming up around these big pivotal astrology times, it's like, why don't we just feel comfortable in them? You know, like the human experience is melancholic. The creative process is melancholic. The individual path is melancholic. There's something so real about it. And when we can just be real in our own state of feeling, it gives us the inner truth and the clarity to actually channel all that energy for good and for real direction and real higher ascension and aspiration, which is in the sun right now. So the 54 is the shadow of greed. It's about, it's this mystical, it's like so many spiritual leaders have had this. It's like this drive to just do this blunt spiritual work. But the thing about it though is it has to be so grounded in material reality. So it's funny because it's like, how can we ascend if we don't have our feet in the material realm and we don't know how to make money to live in the spiritual world, right? So this is going to be a balance. So if you recognize that greed is coming through you, or you're seeing greed in your environment, that's just the low level of drive and ambition. And now the higher level is like actually having a true aspiration. So low level greed could just be like, I just want to make a lot of money and I don't really care about what it is. I just want to make the money so that I can like rise in life and then do what I want. Yeah, well, I did that once and I made the money and I was miserable and I ended up leaving it all. So I don't recommend that path. But a higher aspiration path with the drive and the higher calling to ascend into something greater, to be a higher version of yourself and to do good in the world with that. Now that is something to harness this week about our truer, higher ambitions and our higher aspirations that eventually bring success and money. Now, the 54 is also about having the right relationships. It's, you know, traditionally in I Ching, it's the marrying maiden, which basically sleeps her way to the top. She knows what relationship she needs to rise. So if we're talking about this in practical reality, it is making sure that we have the right relationships in life so that we can all rise together, so that we can support each other in our aspirations. So what I'm sensing in the last couple weeks, especially after the New Year's, is a lot of detrimental and toxic relationships either are coming to the surface for us to actually see the truth, for us to actually inquire and go like, that's actually a really shitty dynamic that's like really hurting me in every way of my life. That is not going to help me with my truer aspirations, right? So right now in the sun is like, who am I aligned with? Who is on my team? Who can I partner with in healthy ways that we can support our talents and aspirations to move forward? Now, the highest essence of this is ascension. It is ascending in the world. And the 54 is both a very raw material thing, but it is also really mystical. So this is also the drive to withstand mystical initiations as well. Then on the earth, we're grounding it with this expansive energy. Now what can happen though is through this drive, we get pushed to do like way new beginnings or totally start over new. And I would say, just to have caution with the drive, you know, like if you feel really short-circuited, move physically, healthy ways, dance, go for a walk, that kind of thing. Let it move through you in healthy ways. But it's about expanding on successes of the past. So what in your life is a solid foundation that you can draw from in whatever new beginning that you're going down? When you can really bring that mastery or those skills or the things and the wisdom you've learned from past cycles of experience, that is what's going to set you off on a really solid new beginning with a new way. So it's almost as if we take that and we expand in a new way off things that we've already built through a higher aspiration and ambition moving forward. So on January 7th, we have the 3420 as a channel that comes in, which is the pure manifesting generator channel, which links up the sacral to the throat. So this might bring up a very strong new presence and awareness of our self-empowerment. We might also get really busy getting a lot done. Now, a big thing that came in this week, and it's going to be in here all week, it's going to shift next week, is that Mars is in the 34th gate or gene key. Now, this can be the shadow of force, okay? It's the higher essence of strength and majesty. It's all about self-empowerment. It does not get more self-empowered than this. This is like in our most primal circuit of self-empowerment. So with this 34 coming in, if you have other gates in the integration circuit, which are 57 in the spleen, 10 in the G center, 20 in the throat, you may feel like all of a sudden your intuition gets empowered, your behavior, your sense of self gets empowered, or your higher principles or just your awareness in the moment with your own power gets activated this week. So right now it's about, what is my strength? And how do I want to use my strength? And how can I channel this physically so that I can feel my strength? Strength, strength, strength. Mars, the warrior, is coming in with this like self-empowerment that goes, F anything else that's standing on my self-empowered way. Get the F out of my way. So, I'm trying not to be too forceful. It was kind of funny when it came into the transits, it lit me up, and I was walking through the airport, and after doing pretty extraneous dance, and I felt so strong in my body, I could feel my muscles, and I could feel like this new strength I was walking around in, and it was so crazy because I was just watching people part. Like, I was walking, and it was like I could feel this force, like I could feel this strength kind of emanating from me. And, you know, the combination of a lot of things going on, not only in the transits, but my own journey, my own chart. And it was literally like I was parting the sea, like people were just moving out of the way as I walked with my strength. So it's like, what will happen in this life when you are in your power? When you are in your power and you are rising for your own fight. Anything could happen. So Mercury came in with 38, and then now it's shifting in the 54. So we are really thinking about this and probably talking about it. We might be sharing our aspirations and drive and ways to rise with others, you know, kind of like this. Now we have Jupiter in the 58. So this is expansive, it's good luck. It's in the 58, which is all about joy. 58 and the 52 are also still in the nodes. We got a lot of root stuff going on, guys. Question again from the beginning is, what makes me feel alive? How do I expand in the areas and rise in the areas of my life that actually give me this joy and zest for living my life? Very important question. Now we have Uranus in 27, still all about self-care. We can't do any of this, guys, without being selfish first, in the sense of we need strong self-care practices so that we can truly be altruistic, so that we can really share our gifts, you know? We can really have that self-nurturing. So we have Saturn and Pluto in the 61. So we have to be disciplined right now about inner truth. We're probably feeling a ton of pressure to study the occult or to make sense out of our reality, to conceptualize it in some way. And so it's like, how do we rise if we're not tapped into inner truth, right? Good question. And then we got Neptune in the gated truth, the 63. And the 63 and the 61 are creating all this pressure, confusing, any kind of psychosis going on. And the 63 is like inquiring, and it's doubting, and it's like, you know, really questioning a lot of things about our reality and about the logistics moving forward. So the 63 eventually comes to some kind of truth. It comes to some collective truth about this experience. So we got a lot of mystical thing, and I think that this is really weeding through illusions right now in our reality. So Venus in the beginning of the week will be in the 49, so values. So this is also about needs or emotional needs. And then into the 30, which is about this kind of rapturing desire of having human experiences. And the higher essence of it is this lightness, this emotional lightness, and it's the gate of fates. It's the gate of fates. So Venus is coming in, and there might be something fated this week. Dun, dun, dun. Anyway, so that is the download about this week's transit report. And to recap, we got a lot of root pressure. Please physically channel it in healthy ways so that you can feel that kind of shift in your body. And this is a very physical empowerment week. It's not just about thinking about your power, it's about feeling it. So what are you doing in your life where you feel your power? Where you feel your self-empowerment? And self-empowerment and this kind of drive with the root can really put us in depression if our energy is jammed up. So sit with the uncomfortable feelings and have comfort in what is real. What is the truth? What is my inner truth? How do I want to expand? What is my real drive and stamina in this world? And when I start this decade, what is my real fight with? What is my real drive? What do I really want to rise and aspire into in my life? Because this week we are supported to do that. And the next week we shift into another pressurized week, but it's coming more from the head. So make sure to stay tuned for next week. So I recommend listening to the last video and all the other things. And if you're into this work and you feel called to the Gene Keys, there is an upcoming live deep dive into genius of your prime gifts with Richard Rudd himself. So I will be there as a guest, and I will put the link in this description. I know some of you have already signed up, but I highly recommend going through this journey. So if you feel a call to that, you can find the link below. So I always love hearing from you guys, so thank you so much for your likes and your comments, and make sure to subscribe to stay updated on upcoming reports and all the good things. So sending you guys so much love, and thank you so much for supporting me on my journey of sharing this information and my sacred work with you. Lots of love, guys.